Alright, what's up y'all? My name is Evan Strong. I am the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. A clothing company, yes, but really we address the human body's natural function. We come at it through the skeletal system. The only thing that doesn't change, when we talk about fat content, it changes. When we talk about muscle mass, it changes throughout our lives. But the skeletal system just has a neutral in every joint within the entire body. The body only ever will work as a whole, only will ever do what it does. It was designed in the image of our living God, Jesus the Christ, by and through Him. So, wow, you see me step back? That hit me for real, no joke. I don't always say that within videos, and it's a good thing to say. We'll say it like that, okay? Now, there's three sides to us. I'll talk about the company as a whole really quick. We'll talk about where clothing has to sit, and then I'm gonna get into this little discussion. This is the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We give free clothing modifications. We discuss how the human body just has a center line, the sternum, the spine, the nose, the trachea, the jaw, stabilizing the whole body. And if it's pulled out of its center by anything placed onto it, being clothing, then the body gets very damaged. Holy noisy. All right. It's also raining. Today is the 28th of March, 2025. We have another third of our company, which is In The Image Clothing Company Music, where I'm a fingerstyle guitarist and I play guitar really well. I show setups of guitar, I show sizes of guitars, and just allow the body to work through playing guitar. That's our whole word, right? Allowing the human body to work through In The Image Clothing Company. That's what we do. Now we have another third of our company, which is In The Image Clothing Company Podcast, with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. It's a beautiful place. We're on episode 87, actually, as of last night. So check that out if you'd like to. Now, for everybody, man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any time period, any part of the earth, it's always the same. The skeletal system of the human being only has its neutrals, and they have to be that way with something placed on it. Pants need to be entirely above the hips, all the way above the pelvis as a whole, so there's no restriction to any of the functionality within our center. And slightly higher in the front than the rear with the waistband of the pants. These core muscles will never be able to even activate if the pants aren't higher in the front. And the body only ever will work as a whole, and the core is the center of the body from top to bottom. Now, the top seams that we wear need to be evenly behind these little bones on the top of our shoulders. Our shoulders only ever will naturally work or work at all behind our head, where these upper trapezius come and connect to the base of the rear of the skull and along the spine on the neck to the shoulder here, okay? Ideally, right at the very edge of our shoulders is where those edge seams need to be, because that's where the shoulder has its functionality. So that's the only place that they're going to mesh. All right. Two additional things In The Image Clothing Company talks about as prerequisites that we have, separate from where clothing sits, because there's not always laces in shoes. There's not always tags in clothing. But when there are things called laces, that is just a rope in our shoes, there's only one way to weave that, shaped the way that the human foot is on the top. That's what we call In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, found where you find us on the internet in 2025 or going forth, okay? With that, we tie our shoes evenly over toward the inside, to the center of the human being, because there is one and there's no dispute to have. That's how we keep our body even from its foundation. Secondly, we remove all tags from clothing. Anywhere there's a tag placed inside of clothing, it's either causing a physical gap, altering the skeletal system's only working position, and or not allowing the musculature where that tag is placed to activate. Then there's other parts of the body trying to compensate, and the body can't work within compensation, but it only works as a whole. So that includes the shoes as well, any tags within there. Now, in this video, it's more of a discussion than anything else, and that's sort of different for me when it comes to the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We've got a lot of podcast episodes where I just sit and talk, but this is going to be a discussion because this video is titled The Thing with Corn Syrup. Because here's the thing about corn syrup. I'll say this. I talk about diets and I kind of mock it, kind of how I mock workouts, kind of how I mock running. There's only one way the body will ever do anything, and when people are doing workouts in positions their body doesn't ever work in, if there's a moment their core's deactivated, their whole body's suffering anyway. Running deactivates your core in the ways that people do it, right? The human body can run, but only if needed to catch something or get away from something. Otherwise, you're just training patternings and imbalances within your body. I don't have opinions on these things. Check out the episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Running, or the other one titled Workouts. I did podcast episodes back to back on those two things, even though the podcast is geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ. I just went into really deep discussions on that. So there's no opinion that I have on those things in the ways that I discuss them. But sidestepping that a little bit, talking about diets, just another one of those things where the body's only now. It's only ever what it is in that moment. It's like I talk about with exercising. Your exercises last week don't help you today. They don't. Your muscle mass will go back to its only normal. The body only has a foundational, this is how it's going to be if it's not altered. And that altering can be additional muscle mass. That altering can be eating what you would think of as excessively healthy for X amount of time until you stop. And then your body goes back to its only normal that it will ever have. So, because of that, there is some things though. I'm vegetarian, and it's not a diet in the way that I do it. It's my entire life I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. At least at this time period, that's how it's been, right? It's not something I'm doing only for a time. It's something that I'm absolutely, there's no meat that goes into my body, period, and done. Diets have like cheat days, right? Diets are conditional things on timing and reasonings. So I just kind of want to give some context on where I'm coming from within this. Think about it like this when we're talking about corn syrup. When you look at people who, no, not people, when you look at, okay, we'll talk about this after I'm going to wait this out. I'm not going to give them the attention they want, but also I'm not going to stop talking either. I had this happen in a video that I made a couple days ago here, and I'm at a public park. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but it's annoying. Okay, so bowel movement. All right, let's talk about things as they are. When you eat corn, if a dog eats corn, if an animal eats corn, and you look at the bowel movement that comes out of the human being or the animal, the corn hasn't digested. It doesn't break down. Corn's one of those only things that we actually eat that is basically the same when it comes out, right? And so because of that, if we're making something out of something else, like corn syrup being a product from the thing that is corn, right? If corn's just already not going to digest and be basically the same coming out of the body as it was going in, then any product you make out of it, you're making it out of the same thing that already behaves the way that it does going through the body. So corn syrup's one of those things that I stay away from. As I was mentioning with diets, I don't diet. I'm pretty particular about what I eat, but always. Otherwise, your diets don't matter. If you only do them periodically, then the times you don't do them, your body's not getting what you think you're getting from the diet, or it's getting damaged in the ways that you think dieting might be helping. You see what I mean? So in those cases, that's one of the only things that I'm like pretty darn particular about not eating is corn syrup. And not because of any kind of news article, not because of any blog post or anything, because I don't listen to those kind of things. That's me, I don't. But because I know how it makes my body feel, and there's corn syrup very commonly at this time period in ice cream, in sodas, in chocolate milks, in gummy candy, and those type of things, plus a lot of food that it almost wouldn't even seem like there'd be any sense being made by it being in. It's a really common thing to put in stuff as kind of a filler to give texture. But what happens is, similar to just corn by itself, what it can do is kind of coat your body's digestive system with the corn that isn't being digested. But now it's in a syrup. I mean, you picture maple syrup or molasses, anything that's a syrupy type of texture, just that thick, kind of sticky substance going into your body, and then what it's made out of is something that already doesn't digest. It just kind of coats the inside of your body and sort of stays there until it's allowed to be fully flushed out. And it's not really benefiting you. You eat corn, and if it comes out the same as it went in, then nothing really got broken down and extracted from it to be used within the body. So I don't want any opinions on dieting and stuff to be pushed by In The Image Clothing Company, but it is what it is, and that's why I've discussed it the way that I have, because it's one of those things, nobody would have to ever tell me anything about it or whatever, but if I just could correlate the way that I was feeling with the ingredients within what I have eaten or drank, and knew that it was corn syrup that was in those things that made me feel the way that I do when I eat it, then I would just know. It makes me feel like dense and heavy and slow. It makes me feel so much thirstier than I would be if it weren't in my system, because coating your whole digestive tract doesn't really allow stuff to absorb into it, because as the tubes of the whole digestive system through the intestines, the stomach, and just, you know, all through the body, as food goes through there, what happens is it actually, the walls of those tubes, like the trachea in our neck, is just a tube, right? All through the body, there's just ways where the nutrients that's in what we eat can be absorbed, like through the sides of the tubes, really. I mean, the body really is so simple. I mean, yeah, it's got a lot of functions to it, but each one of them, when you just look at it and see how it works, the body is really simple. And if nutrients just need to be absorbed through like the walls of even the walls of the stomach organ or whatever it is, right? If it's coated with something that doesn't allow flow through it, then it's just going to damage the body, because it just works how it does, and that's a coating that's unnatural. It's there, like I said, just kind of until it isn't anymore. It just takes longer to process through the body because it doesn't actually process. It just has to kind of go through it, and it does have that like sticky syrup texture to it, so it gets stuck to the body. I can feel it within my mouth as well. Like if I drink chocolate milk, which I love, and there's corn syrup within it, I don't know the differences, or if there really is one, or what all it is, if there is, between corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup. It's worded two different ways, but when I have it in my mouth, it coats the inside of my mouth. And so that's why I'm describing what it does to the inside of the body, because it's doing it to the inside of my body, but only like this far into it, right? Just my mouth, that I can tell for sure because I can feel it with my tongue. So personal experience, talking about it as it is. I don't want to tell people exactly how they should do whatever, blah, 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 because of something that could or couldn't be. But I will say that's how it is. As far as what I have described corn syrup as being within this video here is the case. So that is one thing I want to be very clear of, because yeah, me being the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, keyword allowing the body to work, some people might think that I'm pretty intentional about staying away from sugar or certain things. And yeah, I try to eat things that are just natural. The goal is natural. That's a phrase we use under In The Image Clothing Company. But I eat more sugar than just about anything else. Ice cream, cookies, chocolate milk. So a lot of it is really just how it's introduced. Saliva breaks down sugars and fats, as far as I am aware at this current moment. And it needs to, be able to be fully coated with your saliva, whatever you place into your mouth, before it goes into your body. Otherwise, it's not introduced correct. I talk about food or drink ideally needs to be as close to the body's temperature as it can be. So really room temperature, just, you know, sitting out, not excessively refrigerated and not too warm. Then the body can actually accept it. And ideally no air gets swallowed, because the digestive system is a biome and you place air into there and it won't function the way that it's designed to. So corn syrup though is something that I felt was right to make this video on, okay? I was actually prompted to. It's not just me trying to come up with content or something. But I'm also realizing how In The Image Clothing Company is looking now versus how it did at the start. We're still talking about the same things. We still say things are the same that they were at the beginning because we discuss truth. But the way we are structuring this place, it's just so big. As I've said since the beginning, it will be huge. For the sake of the impact, the magnitude, and the things that we talk about will never change. So corn syrup's one of those things. And I'm gonna add this because my mom was actually saying this the other night. Within the Holy Bible, it talks about what things are supposed to be used for what, and it talks about corn being used for like feeding agriculture. And the stuff that cows graze on or horses, human beings aren't going to be able to eat and function proper, but the cows can and the horses can. Cows have multiple stomachs, their digestive system works so differently. They eat things like just dry straw and hay, alfalfa, and if we human beings were to eat that stuff, it just wouldn't work with our bodies. So corn's one of those things that maybe it's not really meant to be consumed the way that we often do, right? And that's kind of one of those open-ended things, that part of this. But yeah, there we go. Corn syrup. I will say this, personal experience today on the 28th of March 2025. I purchased a container of chocolate milk earlier. I drink a lot of chocolate milk nowadays. I love it. And I drank a mouthful of it, and before I purchased it, I didn't check the ingredients. And after I drank that mouthful, I noticed what I was discussing. There was this coating in my mouth, and it was like something I didn't want in there, something that wasn't good to have within my mouth, and then it just goes through my whole body. So I didn't finish that one, and I actually went to a different store and got one that didn't have corn syrup in it, and that feeling's not there. Okay, so yeah, because a lot of times I actually feel so much more thirsty after drinking an entire something, maybe even, you know, a good amount of liquid, but if there's corn syrup within it, because just what it's doing to the body. So there we go, just talking about it as it is. We are In The Image Clothing Company, not just about clothing, but we will have clothing available, staying centered, fitting correct, made out of 100% natural materials, allowing the body to work, happens by those things being the case. Please just don't ever purchase In The Image Clothing Company clothing if your intention is to purchase it oversized. Oversized clothing in itself is a terrible imbalance that is so damaging to the human being. So thank you. Corn syrup. Try to stay away from it and see what happens. Don't take my word for anything, right? I always say don't believe me, because you don't have to. That's what I mean. Personal experience. Try it out. See what happens if you stop it. And do other things as well to just get in touch with your body so you can actually tell the difference. Okay, thank you.